Every time I walk at airports or in markets, people are like, "Hey, butter chicken." They don't even call me by my name. It is like literally like, "Hey, butter chicken," and that is a part of my identity in many ways. आप तो रील्स बनाते हो, यूट्यूब वीडियोस करते हो, you are not there 15 days. Who is going to run this? And it's a legit question because they are looking at it as an organized business.
That's going to make money.
Yeah.
He served butter chicken to David Beckham, survived visa rejection, lockdowns, and the chaos of cloud kitchens. Through it all, he's managed to launch a pioneering chef-led brand in India. For Saransh Goila, butter chicken isn't just a dish, it's an experience. From running pop-ups at home, trying to convince people to take his version of butter chicken seriously, and then taking it global, this is a story of how one chef creator took one of India's most cliched dishes and turned it into a much-loved food venture that established a new standard for Indian-inspired gastronomy worldwide. This one's a deep dive into delivery numbers, desi cravings, and digital-first food. I mean, what else but chocolate butter cookies by Bombay Sweet Shop for that kind of comfort math. Hi, Saransh.
Hello, Smitha. Thank you for that lovely, kind introduction. I was almost blushing.
I'm glad. But really, like I remember eating Goila Butter Chicken at, I think soon after it launched, you came to the Condé Nast
I think you would have
office.
been one of the first few people to have a taste of the butter chicken, which was 2016.
Yes, you came to the Condé Nast office with like these dabbas of butter chicken and naan and dal. And I remember just like stuffing my face and thinking I cannot stop eating this. And then the rest of the day was a blur because I was in this butter chicken haze. But, you know, before there were storefronts or cloud kitchens, it was just your pop-ups.
Yeah.
What did you learn during those home dinners that kind of shaped everything that came after that?
I think one thing that I clearly understood in my pop-up tenure was that people in Mumbai were always looking for experiences, which stands true even today. So I think my pop-up was experiential because a lot of people don't know that I was not just doing butter chicken. I was doing lots more. Like I was doing this Naga style pork on the menu. Because my grandmother was Rajasthani, I was doing her take of dal bati churma. So I was doing sort of like a 7 or 8 dish pop-up. And but what would continuously stand out in that pop-up was, for some weird reason, the butter chicken. And then I knew that I had a different butter chicken recipe, but I never imagined it to strike a chord like this with people, especially with the F&B folks, because a lot of F&B people whom I met through these pop-ups were like, Saransh, is tarah ka butter chicken nahi milta hai Bombay mein, you should really like think about it. And I realized while doing these pop-ups for 2 or 3 years that the butter chicken that was being served across the city, especially in Mumbai, and also in some parts in Delhi, the approach to it had become very commercial and very, more than commercial, it had become very lax. You could just, take a tomato base, add lots of cream and butter, and that's butter chicken. I don't think so that anybody cared about the nuance of why this butter chicken became so popular in the first place. And I think that's the same like having a good pizza, right? Like a pizza can be just a pizza, or a pizza can be, oh my God, this is the best slice of pizza I've had. And I think
Absolutely.
I think we forgot to also make sure the classics also evolve, whether they're reimagined or they go through some sort of a change in their routine recipes. It could be many things. So I think that's where this fit in.
Yeah. No, it's interesting you say that, because you launched Goila Butter Chicken from your home kitchen and then, of course, scaled it across India and then even went to London. Was there a point where, and you also mentioned that it's not like you're a huge fan of butter chicken. Was there a point when you were like, holy shit, we're actually doing this, like, with butter chicken?
Yeah, I've been to so many like panels, or I go into so many rooms where awards or events or functions happen where there are dozen of chefs, and
Yeah.
they be like, we did this but we don't do butter chicken. And then suddenly people start looking at me from different corners of the room, and
Butter
I'm like, you
chicken
know what, I
spokesperson.
kind of agree with all these chefs. Like, it is a dish that is really overdone, it's done to death.
Yeah.
And that is precisely the fact that I would not have wanted the legacy of Goila Butter Chicken to be that, because I realize that while we all know that that is the truth about our food, there is just three dishes this cuisine has been known for forever.
Yeah.
It deserved to evolve, right? And I think that is the reason we have gone from one kitchen in Andheri to now 110 kitchens in India. We have 2 stores in London. We never thought of this to be a scalable venture. I don't think so that diners go out now to eat butter chicken. As in, if they got a good plate, sure, they will eat. But I think they're going out for experimenting, for ambience, for they're going for an experience, essentially. And I think butter chicken and biryani, all these dishes have, now you think of them and you think delivery. You think house
Yeah.
party. You think, okay, chilling with family and friends at home. I think I have good business genes, is what I like to tell people. I come from a family where my dad, even though he used to run a small scale hand pump factory, but I think I've seen him conducting business. Like,
Sure.
how do you run your own thing? That
You've grown up with that.
Yes. Okay. Bank se loan le sakte ho. And that is another thing that chefs hesitate to do, right? They hesitate to take liability on themselves, and nobody grooms you for this. And I think I got lucky there because my dad was like, "Acha, CA lagega. You need this to start a company." Then my partner Vivek, who is a co-founder at Goila Butter Chicken, who's also happens to be my roommate from college, was more ops friendly. So he knew, okay, purchase, supply. And we did that even when we had decided we will only open one kitchen. Like, Vivek and my dream was very limited. We were like, DN Nagar Andheri mein we'll open one outlet. This is it. We want to be like, our benchmark was Rajendra, that dhaba from Delhi. We're like, dude, he started with one shop and now the whole market is owned by him. And we are like, we just want to do this. We want to be in DN Nagar. This whole gully should just be Goila Butter Chicken.
I mean, it's interesting that, despite being a chef, obviously when people think of chef-driven, people think of, white tablecloth and, all of that. But you were able to very quickly kind of identify the right model for this market. Do you think that scaling a cloud kitchen concept was easier, like maybe a decade ago when you were just starting out? Or would you say the market has become more evolved now and it's much easier to scale or, launch a QSR now?
I think it's definitely much more easier to launch a QSR now. I only find the model to be a little flawed. And I say that because we have aggregators involved in the process. You can scale up faster because they have also invested in supply chains. They've made sure that you are able to scale up across the country. So, but the benefit goes to them versus going to the restaurateur or the cloud kitchen owner in this process, and hence it's flawed. Having said that, I feel it's definitely easier to scale. If I had to answer that in one line, than a restaurant, 100%, because you can choose to have limited SKUs. You don't even need to invest in your own commissary. You can go to one of these very, very high-end, like international standard commissary, where they're producing hundreds of kgs of sauces and gravies. No preservatives, no like old school machinery. Everything is pretty like high tech in that sense, that everything uses modern technology to its best to keep your food fresh, to make sure the flavor is preserved. You want to cook with a tomato that's not 20 rupees, 40 rupees, sure, they will adjust as per your SOP
requirements.
And they then start supplying these master sauces or gravies to your smaller stores. So it's definitely easier, because then when that butter chicken is served, whether it's in Delhi, Mumbai or Bangalore, it will mostly be the same.
Okay, wow. So what what does initial investment look like? Like if I want to start a cloud kitchen today.
Okay, so there are different kind of entry points for people. People who are home cooks or home chefs who are just looking to start somewhere. They can start this business for as less as 10 lakhs. They could find a small space, get some equipment, get a few licenses, and just kick it off. However, the right way, or as I like to call it, the more slightly more organized and long-term thinking professional way is that you get a long lease. You are able to break it down a little, get the drainage in, get a good ventilation and chimney in, so that if you go that route and you are thinking long-term, which is like how hospitality people do. So people who have done this before, so they would say that you invest 25 lakhs upfront and make a beautiful space and go in it knowing that you're going to run this business for 2 to 3 years. And then you decide if it's successful or not in the first 6 to 12 months. So I think per kitchen cost, I would say, at least for Goila Butter Chicken, looks like 20 to 25 lakhs. And it remains the same. It's not like it reduces beyond a certain point. Yes, you might get some discounts from your vendors, etc. But I think 20 lakhs is what we budget when we think of a GBC kitchen.
And how long would it take to break even? I mean, obviously GBC is a very well established brand, but say for a new brand, what does that look like?
Like, let's say if you invest 20 lakhs and you go on these platforms, I would say you will take a solid 2 years to break even. It is tough because the margins are skinny. If you're doing very well as a business, you will make 8 to 10% profit. And if you're doing average, you will be at a no profit, no loss. If you're at a slightly below average, you're losing 10 to 15% month on month. So it's very tough in that sense. Like I usually tell people when they come asking me for advice, ki we have this product and we want to start our kitchen. I'm like, if you're very confident about your product, just open a 20-seater restaurant. It is a slightly larger investment than what you would have spent in a cloud kitchen. But if your goal is to run a small shop that you want to be sitting in forever, or you want to command everything in that space. And I recommend people then going for a half and half format. So 50% seating and 50% delivery. Because then you can break even in 12 months instead of 24 months. And even if you perform average, you might not make losses. You might still be afloat because of your audience that comes to you directly at the store, offline audience.
So, from equity partnerships to obviously the Biryani by the Kilo acquisition, you've come a long way. Was scaling and selling always part of the plan?
No, because my name is attached to the brand. So when I started it, never thought that there'll be a day where I will have an opportunity to partner with someone else, where I would be speaking about selling a majority stake with a brand that has my name on it to someone else. I think when you scale, it is a humbling experience. Like now I know that anybody who orders from Goila Butter Chicken necessarily might not know who Saransh Goila is. I have learned this over the last 3 years. When the brand started, it was the other way around, where you would know me, but because of me, by extension, you would know the brand. But I think now it's reverse. So I feel like because we are in that domain, I found it easier to transition in a way where I was able to tell myself, no, it's okay. Like, this brand deserves scale. People are asking for it across the country. Every time I walk at airports or in markets, people are like, hey, butter chicken. They don't even call me by my name. It is like, hey, butter chicken. And that is a part of my identity in many ways. And I feel like, so the brand deserved to be scaled, and scaling is a different beast altogether, which means it requires a corporate structure and it requires a corporate mindset. And as in, I am not like, let's say, an IIT graduate or a MBA or somebody who's studied how to scale businesses. And I am very happy to accept that there is a certain amount of business sense I have, which was to take the brand from 1 to 7, 8 kitchens, which is a very organic way of growing the business, which
Yeah.
meant whatever we made from one kitchen, we reinvested, took some loan, took some debt, got the third
Put it
outlet
back into the
going.
business. Yeah.
As soon as you reach the 7, 8 kitchen mark, you realize things start to go wrong. One kitchen will not get the food right. Somewhere the chef will leave. There are so many operational errors that
So
you can
many
do.
variables. Yeah.
And then you realize, oh shit, now we need an operational manager. Now we need a CEO. Suddenly you need an executive chef who's managing four, like a cluster of kitchens. And I'm a chef in my heart and in my soul. I am somebody who loves to cook. So I found myself in a spot in the pandemic where I was like, my job is not to like call the DN Nagar
is not
police
what I
station
started for.
to figure
Yeah.
out a food pass. And I'm like, that can be somebody's job for sure. I can hire
Yeah.
somebody to do this. But then I realized there is so much that I will have to do. I need a HR. I need like, so we realized that we will have to basically raise funds. Either we raise funds to build a corporate structure and take the Goila Butter Chicken legacy forward, or then we had to scale it down back to where it was. So we also considered that for a short period of time, that let's take it back from 8 to 3. Let's run it the way we were so happily running it, also making money. And it was a great spot to be in. But that journey from 3 to 8 basically is a spoil sport. And when I met investors, I was like, oh my God, like I am going to be, and I don't like to use that word, but shackled all my life, like in some corporate company. Because the number one
Yeah.
question that investors will ask me, आप तो reels बनाते हो, YouTube videos करते हो, you are not there 15 days. Who is going to run this? And it's a legit question because they are looking at it as an organized business.
That's going to make money.
Yeah. So we had that learning. And that's when I met Vishal, who is one of the co-founders of Biryani by Kilo. I actually met him at a panel where I addressed this exact same thing that I told you, that, oh my God, we are at 8 kitchens and now we're trying to figure. And Vishal is like, you know what? It was so nice to hear that you are so honest about the way you run your business. And he said, what I liked about and he did not know anything about Goila Butter Chicken. It was very interesting.
Oh, wow.
Because Vishal is a VC backdrop himself, who joined hands with the chef, was Mr. Kaushik, who's a senior sort of chef who started Biryani by Kilo. And Vishal entered in that company eventually. And he said, you just seem to be, yeah, your brand is waiting to be scaled. It just seems like. So they visited our Mumbai kitchens. They realized that we had organized this like chefs already. We had thought of how to scale this. We had a commissary going in Chembur. So it became like a very easy fit. So we decided to do like a handshake with them where we piloted Goila Butter Chicken in 20 Biryani by Kilo kitchens in Hyderabad and Bangalore. So that was our first 12 months of testing, where we had we trained a team of 40 or 50 chefs or different levels, Commie 1, Commie 2, Commie 3s, who all went through a training course in these cities, and then three people were deployed in each Biryani by Kilo kitchen. The investment that they had to do instead of 20 lakhs was only 5 lakhs to plug in GBC in each of their kitchens, which meant they just had to upgrade few equipments.
Yeah.
And so 12 months of doing this with them, we realized this is a no-brainer. Basically, all of us realized. And Bangalore, we just took off. Like it was, and as I said, this brand was ready to grow, and Vishal also felt the same. And Bangalore surpassed Mumbai, basically, in the first year of opening in
Incredible.
Bangalore. So we were like, this is like,
There is something here.
there is something to
Yeah.
this. And clearly, Vivek and me were like, dude, what they can do, we can't do. They're already at 100 kitchens. So that's when the offer came from Biryani by Kilo to invest in the brand and take over 70% of the company. And it was to then scale the brand from 20 to 100 kitchens. And we already had 8 or 10 of them. So basically, in the last 2 years, then we scaled Vivek and me.
Incredible.
Actually, I took I've taken 106 flights in the last 2 years. So I
I
have.
love how you know the number.
Yeah, because I keep a count. It's one of my pet peeves. So yeah, and I think we are now in 43 cities in India,
Wow.
so
Incredible.
which is massive. And
Yeah, that's
like I
huge.
must thank Biryani by Kilo because they are the ones who actually did a lot of legwork and groundwork. They have this solid corporate team
Yeah.
in Gurgaon.
That's insane. Okay, so having done this, sort of successful acquisition with BBK, what in your mind is what a food business should sort of keep in mind when they're building a business to sell? Because I know that this is
Yeah.
something that a lot of different food businesses are kind of at the stage where they're like, okay, we want to grow. We don't have the resources internally to grow. We want to sell, but we don't want some investor to come and kill our
Yeah.
brand. So yeah, what would your advice be?
My first piece of advice here would be that you have to learn to detach yourself from your brand, and that was the hardest for me to do because I had similar fears. I'm like, oh my god, my name is attached to this. What if someone could be your own friend for all you
Sure.
care,
Yeah.
but you will never trust anyone in your life to run this the way you ran it.
Absolutely.
I think it's good to have clarity when you start, or good to have a vision that I'm going to start this brand today, but from 10 years from now, I want this brand to become epic. But I would want to move on and do other things. If that's your plan, I think it's good to have that clarity. We should have gone to Bangalore 4 years back. It's just because me and Vivek felt, no, we will do 1 + 1 is 2 and 2 + 1 is 3.
Slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, if I should have done this 4 years back or 5 years back,
Yeah.
I just didn't know how, or I didn't feel confident enough to part with my product. So I think the sooner you do it, the better if your mindset is to scale. So it's good to have mentors.
Yeah.
It's difficult to find them, but when you find them, it's good to like chase them and ask them questions.
Pick their brains constantly.
So I think that is a good process that really helps because they will give you solid advice that
Fair.
that no, if you're going to do this way. Get the licenses in already, even if you have to spend 5 rupees extra. So things
Right.
like that, it's good to
That
have
perspective. Yeah.
and I think you can scale businesses both with investors and without. There are solid examples for both sides of the coin. But how many, and I was having this chat with Riaz, that how many people actually get exits in the world of restaurants and cloud kitchen business is far and few still. But now stories have started to come out where brands like Theobroma, or now yesterday I got to know Mimi's, which is the ice cream brand,
Yeah.
is now being
just
acquired. So so there are stories that are now coming out on brands being acquired. So there clearly seems to be a shift in the F&B space.
Right. What does that look like? Like, what are those things that investors are looking for?
I think they're looking for profitability. So if you have a profitable scaled model in the F&B industry, you are ripe for the taking. You will find buyers in today's market, which is that you have a product that fits into your food cost. You are still able to pay commission to aggregators, and yet even if you have a skinny profit, if you're profitable, you will have a buyer for sure. And then you have a greater chance to negotiate a better exit or a better equity selling price for yourself. Because when you are not making money, it can be tough to sell because people will usually offer you deals that you don't want. And that's where people start to feel, I've put in my life's work into this brand or into this product, and why should I sell it at this price? You have to be okay with meeting people halfway. Not everything goes your way. And I'm now speaking that from experience because I think that is what I had to do to get the right deal for Goila Butter Chicken and for it to scale up till here. There are so many things that I wanted that I've not gotten from these deals. And I was like, but that's okay because the brand gets to go to Fulham, or the brand gets
Right.
to
There's a
now be at
larger pool.
110 kitchens. So it's also that.
Fair. That makes sense. So Saransh, you're one of the few chef founders who's built a food brand, has a great creator career. You've launched your own cookware brand. And of course, you've done this acquisition. A lot of chefs struggle between, the creativity part of the business and like the cold, hard numbers of the business. There are enough examples of restaurants and places that have shut down simply because very creative, very talented chefs could not sustain the business. For you, what has been the hardest part about all of this and doing this balance?
I think the fact that you don't get to be creative enough once you start running your own business, I think that is the trade-off that you have to make. And I think that has been the hardest part for me as a creator, because there's a certain kind of monotony that has to set in for this business to be successful, which means the same butter chicken needs to be made for the next 10 years of your life. And your journey is to perfect that. As people who are creative, I think in today's day and age, we have short attention spans. We like doing new things every now and then. I think it can be very demotivating to run your creativity or your passion point as a business. I think it's very tough. And it requires a lot of personal sacrifice in that sense, which means you have to be okay with waking up and not today going to the kitchen and cooking what you want. And I think that's why meaningful partnerships exist, where the restaurateur and the chef come together and they build something together where both their visions align. In this case, like Vivek, who's the co-founder at GBC, stopped being the chef. He became the operational partner.
Lead of sorts,
Because one of us had to sacrifice that creative
spark,
because otherwise both of us would be in the kitchen. He's like, Rajma aise nahi banta, I'm like, aise nahi banta, and we are like, but the customer wants something else only. So then one of us had to be the voice of reason. The customer wants this, and one of us like, okay, fine, if you feel the customer wants this, I am going to make something that fits in this, and I am also okay with it. So I think the monotony sort of sets in and it becomes more clerical. That's when the content really helped me, because my content became a place where I could be as expressive as I wanted to be. Like, I think I traveled the entire country through my recipes on my
during the lockdown,
lockdown on my channels, which became beautiful because that became my platform to express my passion for cooking. So in that sense, I was able to find that somewhere else. So that could be one way of doing it as well. If you want to be a chef who's a successful entrepreneur, you look for different ways of keeping your passion alive. Do those pop-ups. Like I still love doing pop-ups. Like when I went to London to launch this Goila Butter Chicken at Fulham, I have just pushed people around me to mujhe to pop up karna hai, because I need a space to like cook something,
to do your thing.
Which is not going to be just butter chicken in this case.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, and I see the struggle in being a creative person and being a writer and wanting to write the stuff that I really want to write and like actually doing things that will make me some money. So
I think like it would. That's true in all art forms. In that sense, you're right.
Any creative business, you're bound to sort of have that challenge. But speaking about the, having a creative outlet, you've spoken in the past about how there's been some snobbery around being a creator. There's a little elitism when it comes to people saying things like chefluencer or celebrity chef. Have you ever felt that label has been a bit limiting to what you do, or it discredits what you've actually done with your business?
In my case, I started out when I was on television. I was 24. Now I'm 38. So it's been 14 years of me doing this. When I started out, television was the only medium and that's when celebrity chefs were cool. So then there was definite snobbery that, and it was like that like whether it was me or any other chef who was on TV, there was a clear divide between celebrity chefs and chefs in the industry, where we were constantly trying to bridge the gap from both ends, which I still remember Chef Sanjeev turning up for all industry events by default, because he always wanted to make it sure that there was a bridge between communities. And I think the gap started to bridge with Instagram, because, and especially with short format, TikTok and IG coming out, everybody found a medium or a place to express themselves. And I think that has really helped. The lines are now blurred, I feel. The last time somebody called me a celebrity chef was, I think, 5 years back. The problem still exists in that sense, but in lesser doses, because now industry people have their own voices on their own platforms. So I feel that they don't feel limited anymore. It does not feel like an equal opportunity does not exist for everyone. Earlier, it would always feel like, "Arey, we don't know." When I was 24, and I get it, like there was no way of being able to say, why did Saransh get this food and travel show? What had he achieved in his life to have gotten this thing? And I think, but now with everybody's own platforms and everybody is able to share their own stories, there is more clarity. Also, I think it's interesting because now everyone knows how much work it takes to also be a creator. Like you suddenly realize, right? It's an equal platform. So I feel now the sense of insecurity or the bickering or the complaining has reduced dramatically, because everybody knows, अरे हाँ, मैं भी reel बना के डाल सकता हूँ. So what? If he also puts, I can also do it. And I think it happens with, especially, but it's a beautiful place to be in, because there are so many influencers or creators who are just influencers and creators. They don't specialize in anything. The wonderful thing about people who are food influencers or people who cook is that they have an art form attached to them, which means that they have, by extension, they can start their businesses, they can become entrepreneurs.
Fair enough. Would you have any advice for chef creators who are sort of trying to chase virality? I mean, now you see chefs do all kinds of things. Dancing, singing, cooking, everything.
Sab chalta hai.
But exactly. But like there is this thing of like, do I make reels, or do I focus on, just technique and do all of cooking and put that out? How have you sort of found that balance?
It's a different kind of example, but I met an actor who's my girlfriend Divya's, now fiance, Divya's a very close friend who's an actor, and he's a very good actor. He's done some solid OTT shows, and pretty seasoned as well. And he's like, you know what? The last 2 years, half the roles I'm rejected for because I'm not active on Instagram. And he was just heartbroken with the fact that his online presence must come in the way of his talent being shown in these shows. And as soon as he shared that with me, I was like, oh my God, this feels like everywhere, which means it does not allow you to be your fully creative self, because there's a burden of
the
algorithm on you. So I feel you cannot escape it. It does not matter whether it's 300 people, 3,000 or 30,000 or 3 million. It's good to have your voice. It's good to share, and you don't have to be somebody who, I definitely believe you don't have to be someone who just creates viral content. You can create meaningful content for 500 people. And those 500 people can be your customers as well. Like 3 years, 5 years from now, if Indian chefs won a 3 Michelin star or they got the James Beard Award, nobody would have known. Today, people care. They're sharing these. Suddenly, there is noise around this. News channels are sharing. Bollywood channels are sharing. And I think, so there lies in the opportunity. So I think it's very important. That would be my advice to everyone, that you don't have to create viral content, but create content.
Yeah, fair enough. I think that's really good advice. But I'd love to know, what is your own relationship with social media? It's my relationship with social media sort of veers from I love it,
Yeah.
like self-soothe on Instagram, but I also hate it. And there are
Yeah.
some days when I just can't look at
I
my
think
phone.
it sounds like me. I am currently in a love-hate relationship with social media
Yeah.
myself. I really believe that content creation. Now, yesterday I was reading facts that 100K accounts, more than 100K accounts in India now have 1 million plus followers, and I'm like, this has no end,
Yeah.
which means it's become, it's like a little war now where millions of people are going to have millions of followers. Everybody is going to be made feel important, and suddenly creativity takes backseat in this
Yeah.
process because
Because
it
everyone's using
becomes,
ChatGPT.
yes, and everybody is replicating everyone. Like I know of 20 or of 200 people who have replicated, let's say, my format of reels online. It's not like I'm not aware, and I don't care. I'm happy. I'm like, my to Goila Butter Chicken recipe is online. People could open 200 Goila Butter Chickens with my recipe. So I believe in sharing, but it is frustrating because the platforms have realized that it's good to satisfy people and probably lie to them about the fact that they might not actually be suited to create something in the real world outside. Let's say I am a great reel maker who can cook something in my kitchen here. So I fine, there is certain amount of effort, hard work,
Yeah.
and creativity that goes in there to project that to the world. But
Sure.
suddenly the platform makes me feel more important than I should feel, which means, so what's going to happen is, there will be several people who have lots of followers, but they will, most, as in I can see that, and it's happening around me, most people are struggling with the fact of figuring what is it that they want out of this, because eventually in 2 years the money dries up. For 1 or 2 years, when your popular brands are coming in, you're getting some
Yeah.
work, and you feel like, oh my god, this can lead to something. But the unfortunate truth is, only one person out of hundreds or thousands will get through that and still maintain their path. Like one person, I really like what Saloni did with her ice creams, Indu.
Yes.
See,
Yeah.
now that you will hear very few stories like that.
Yeah.
So I really feel like you have to be okay to like live and learn online. You have to evolve with the platforms will continue to evolve, but I feel it is very important for you to be grounded and have something in the offline world to sort of run in sync with the online world. Otherwise, I think I would feel very empty as a person, because the platform will make me feel like every 3 months I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's like the dopamine. It came and it
Yeah.
went. But to build something of consequence, then you have to take it offline.
Fair.
And yeah, so
And I
that's,
think you've done a great job of that. I mean, through your own cookware line, and now obviously with Goila Butter Chicken. What is next for Saransh Goila,
oh,
who's
that's
probably
great.
sitting on a pile of cash right now?
I think as in, I would have liked to sit on a larger pile of cash, but that's fine. But no, I think as an I think I've become very particular about finding meaning in what I'm doing. Whether it's the cookware, whether it's Goila Butter Chicken, or now I'm planning to get married in 6 months. So I think I've reached that
Congratulations.
phase. Thank you. So I've reached that phase of my life where I'm looking for meaning in everything, basically. And I think the Indian food story is very important for me. It's always been, I think I've traveled India a lot. Like I think I've traveled India more than most people I have met. And I feel that I really want to share those stories and those dishes and those recipes with people. So I think I want to go on that journey again. I think I went on that journey once in my TV life. That's when the digital platforms weren't as relevant. But now I feel I have the time and the capability to do that again. And this time I have I'm a little grown up. I have my own opinion on things.
You have so much of perspective.
I have a perspective. So I want to share that with the world. And I think so that's where I am. That's where my mind is right now. I want to do food, travel. I want to do content that's meaningful. As in, not to say that what I do right now is not meaningful,
Yeah,
but
I know what you mean.
but I want to do something that where I also learn constantly, and I'm not just teaching. So I think it is beautiful when you're able to learn, process, and then share. So that's what I want to do for the next couple of years. And when it comes to offline, I feel like I'm going to enjoy 6 to 12 months just seeing what other chefs do. I want to meet a lot of my community. I have not been able to catch up with a lot of people in the last 3 4 years. So I want to go and spend time with chefs. I want to actually do a lot more pop-ups. Like I did one in Asma Khan's restaurant in Darjeeling Express in London,
Express.
which was fabulous. I had a great 3 days because I met her team. I got to cook with them. They all have such lovely stories, the backgrounds.
And she's such a force.
And she's a force.
Yeah.
Oh my God. She's incredible. So I had like a great time. And then she said, why don't you go and do this in New York, in Chintan's restaurants, or why don't you go here? I will connect you to these people. And I'm like, no, I appreciate that. But then you have to be ready to go on that journey. And I think I like the sound of it. So I think that's where I might head, where I want to just travel with my food to different parts of the country and the world.
Incredible. Amazing. Good luck with all of that. And thank you so much for
No,
this.
thank you. It was fun.
I'm glad we're done with the Q&A part
Okay.
of the interview, and we're just going to play a little bit of a game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Are you ready?
I am ready. I'm always ready.
We're going to ask you a couple of spicy questions.
Ooh.
And we'd like you to
Be
to
truthful.
spill the truth. Yeah.
Okay.
You've done a bunch of brand collabs and contact gigs. Have you ever had to fake loving a dish on product or a product on camera?
Yes, absolutely. I had once worked on a campaign with Cinepolis, the theater
Okay.
chain, and I had created a lovely hot dog there with Sikh kebab bun, but there was a veg counterpart of it, which was like the soya chap sort of equivalent hot dog in a bun. And every time they would play that in the theater with me going, I'm like, I am unsure if it is, but maybe the vegetarians might. Some of them might have liked, and some of them, I don't think so, would have appreciated what we did there.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. What's the worst customer complaint you've ever gotten, and the spiciest reply you've ever given?
Okay. I think the worst customer complaint that we have gotten is that, as in we make errors in our kitchen. There is no taking away from it.
Of course,
But the worst one was where somebody wrote to me saying that on purpose your kitchen has fed us non-vegetarian food, and we have seen your kitchen, you guys don't have a veg non-veg section, and it was filled with lies basically. Where I said, see, mistakes can happen. I can agree on the fact that at the counter somebody has
Some wrong order
has gone to
Yeah.
you, that I will take it hands down. But it's the detailing on that message that ticked me off, because I was like, no, it can never happen in our kitchens because we have strict color coding on pans. We have processes in place where we do XYZ. And then they said the complaint was that the gravy that you have served this in, the gravy is a chicken gravy. And that you lie to your customers, it's not a vegetarian gravy. And I was like, that is exactly what my gravy is. It's got that smokiness inside.
That's the point.
That is the point. I want you to feel like you're eating butter chicken, but with paneer.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can't make you understand the nuance. So I think that's the worst complaint I've received in my life. And I told that customer that, I will bet, because he wrote, I want a refund of 10,000 rupees. I said, I will bet 10,000 rupees with you on this forum and say, why don't you come to my kitchen and you prove us
and
wrong?
see for yourself. Yeah.
And then he never turned up, of course.
Fair enough. Is there someone you feel there is in the Indian food landscape who doesn't get the attention they deserve?
It's not the Indian food landscape. But one of my chef friends, actually, Pallavi, she runs this restaurant called Navu in Bangalore.
In Bangalore?
I think they deserve more attention than they still get. I think they're sidelined because they might not be a part of the current regional Indian food story. But what they're doing is like cooking with ingredients that are special, food that is very tasty. It has its own personality, is different. Because we are running so high on the Indian food story, which Indian food deserves its time now across the world. But I feel like in our own culinary setup here in Bangalore and in Bombay or in the metro cities, I think it's important to acknowledge people who are doing things that are not Asian or Indian. Like, I think there is... we are missing out on that somehow, is what I constantly feel.
Yeah.
So I think that would be nice to see those places being acknowledged.
Lovely. Great. Super. Thank you so much, Saransh. This has been a lot of fun and I've really enjoyed this conversation. It's been a pleasure.
Course.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to show us some love. Hit like, drop a comment, and scribble it in chutney. We're on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever food memories live. And tell us, which dish from your childhood lives rent-free in your head?